Hi everyone, happy Tuesday. Hello. Tonight we have a wonderful guest coming on. Her name is Frankie Perazzola. She is a fellow badass do-gooder with me. She is amazing and beautiful and one of my biggest supporters. She is the queen of determination, and I think we need to bring this queen on so she can share her inspiring story with all of you. So Frankie, if you're listening, please request to join in and we will get started. Okay, here's Frankie. Hello. Okay. And we are about to go on with Frankie right now. Hi Jim, welcome.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Michelle?
I'm good. I'm good. Do we have our wine?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I
Right.
had to have
Cheers.
a little bit just to, get
Oh,
me
you
going.
had some before?
Just a little because it affects my speech.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm gonna cheers you.
Okay, so cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Making me drink alone.
No. I had a chug.
It's okay. How was your day?
It was good. Pretty busy. I always have a lot to do during the day, but I managed to figure it out. So here we are.
Good.
How about you? How was your day?
It was good. It was productive.
Good.
But relaxing at the same time, which is good.
Good. We love productive, relaxing vibes
do.
over here. Yes.
We do. So right now we just have Jim on with us. I guess we'll wait just a couple minutes to see if anyone who else comes on and we'll get started.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So
I've been reading over a lot of your recent posts. I'm just I'm extremely honored to even be on a live, like to even be asked. So thank you. But everything you're sharing is like so beautiful, and it really touches like me especially, and I'm sure it goes for everyone else. So thank you for being so vulnerable and putting yourself out there.
Oh, well, thank you for being one of my biggest supporters.
Yeah.
So sweet. Oh. Financial snacks, hello. Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. I mean, I love following your stuff as well. I mean, you are a warrior.
Thanks. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course. So I guess we'll get started. Whoever joins in late or can't join at all, I always save my lives after, so it'll be on my feed, whoever missed this.
Okay.
A beautiful habit, hello, welcome. Okay, so I guess we can start. So Frankie Perazzola, everyone, and you struggle with a rare physical disability called Friedreichs Ataxia.
Correct.
Okay. So I don't know anything about that. I just know what I see on your page and what you talk about. Would you like to share what that is with everyone?
Yeah, sure. So not a lot of people know about it. I didn't even know about it when I was diagnosed because it is so rare.
Mm-hmm.
FA, it's easier to say FA instead of Friedrichs or Friedrichs. It's a rare neuromuscular disease, and typically it's diagnosed when a person is younger. So typically signs and symptoms become more apparent between the ages of 5 and 15.
Okay.
I wasn't diagnosed until I was 22 years old, but I started seeing symptoms around 18 or 19. It just took me a while in the medical system to get diagnosed. So FA is a rare genetic progressive disease. It's debilitating. So pretty much how I try to explain it to others is that my muscles are deteriorating over time. And my brain doesn't connect with the rest of my body as fast as the average person, or as fast as I would like it to. So dealing with something like FA requires a lot of patience, which is something I'm learning because I never had a lot of that to begin with. But I'm slowly learning over time, and yeah, there's no cure, there's no set treatment.
Really?
And that's really hard to grasp, just because, you know, when someone goes to the doctors, especially me, I've always gone and been able to come back with an answer, or at least a recommendation, like, oh, try this and see if it works. And this was the first time I was like, oh, there's nothing. So just the diagnosis of it itself is extremely hard to deal with, but
I'm sure.
yeah.
Can't imagine. So what kind of symptoms did you start happening to you?
The first thing I noticed was my inability or trouble walking upstairs without like white knuckling the railing or holding on to someone. And for me, that was extremely weird, just because I had been an athlete my entire life. I played softball and soccer, so running and going up and down bleachers, like that was somewhat normal. And when I noticed I was having trouble going up and down the stairs, I was like, you know, this is kind of weird. So that was the first thing I noticed. But to be very honest, in the beginning, I never thought it would be something as serious as FA. I thought like maybe it had to do with my lifestyle in college, like drinking and partying and stuff. I'm like, oh, it's just my body reacting. But turns out it was Friedreichs. So
that's terrible.
yeah.
Wow. So what do you have to do, like, for it, like, to, I know I see you do like a lot of your like physical activity and exercising, and you have to stick with that every day.
Yes. That's pretty much the only thing I've heard from my neurologists, as well as the other specialists I've seen. Since there is no cure or set treatment, every doctor I've seen always encourages physical activity, which is, it kind of puts you in a weird spot having FA, because something that we have to deal with FA is extreme fatigue. And that's probably one of the hardest symptoms to describe, because it's more than just being tired. I could sleep for 14 hours and wake up still exhausted. Like my body is just always tired, and there's no way around it. But with physical activity and staying active, I was told, you move it or lose it. So it was, I kind of got thrown in, and like, all right, see how it goes when it comes to physical activity or being in physical therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only thing that I found that really worked for me and my lifestyle. And the fact, like, I was an athlete, it was just easier for me to adapt to that,
Right.
being in that physical realm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how often a week do you have to do physical therapy?
When I was first diagnosed, I was actually seeing a physical therapist, and I was going, I want to say twice a week,
Okay.
2-3 times a week, as well as seeing a chiropractor and getting into different avenues of alternative medicine. Just kind of seeing what worked. And what I realized is the only thing that genuinely worked for me was staying active and working with our personal trainer. It gave me it Working with a personal trainer gives me the ability to set small goals, small physical goals that I'm actually able to achieve, and that makes me feel really good because something like FA, I am fully dependent on a walker. The only place I don't use it is around my house. So I use a walker and a wheelchair to get around. And being with a personal trainer and getting more into the physical realm, I've noticed like things, it's easier for me to pick myself up off the floor because I'm gonna fall regardless. No matter how strong I am, like my legs are gonna give out. And that's just something I have to prepare for. So me getting strong and kind of being lighter on my feet is my ultimate goal. So I'm able to deal with it as best I can.
Okay. Well, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I can't imagine the struggle you deal with every day with this. Just an emotional toll it takes too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to play it as like FA is no big deal or that I'm strong enough to handle it, because there are some days where it's just too much. And I think a lot of people have that misconception of me because of what they see on Instagram. You know, they think I'm this strong person all the time, and while that might be the case for most of my life, there's still days where it's just like so heavy, and I have conversations with God all the time, you know, like why me. But I've just figured out that I need to allow myself to feel those emotions and not subside those or try and push them away, because ultimately it makes it worse. So I allow myself to feel sad sometimes. It's just really important to get myself out of that mindset eventually and not stay there. So yes, it is really, like, at first it was really hard to accept, but now it's kind of like, okay, now I have FA, now what? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing too. I think with anything, is just you have to feel the emotions, because the more you push them away, the worse it gets. And that's the whole part of acceptance. And I mean, I'm going through a healing journey myself, and I've learned to, you have to feel to heal. And you know, the more I pushed everything away, I know it's not the same thing, just on an emotional level, I can relate about pushing feelings off, and they get worse when you do.
Yeah.
And that's why I
Yeah.
finally just accept. And when days I wake up and, like, knock on wood, I haven't had those days as often. But when I used to wake up in the morning, if like I just felt like pure crap, I would just say, like, you know, I would fight it all day. And the more I fought it, the worse it got, because I wasn't
Yes.
accepting it. And it was just making me more depressed. And it would last longer through the week. But as soon as now when I wake up, I like literally lay there and I talk to myself and I'm like, Michelle, it's okay. Like, today is going to be one of those days, and that's okay. It could last an hour, it could last 5 hours, it could last all day, but it's okay. You know, just let it yourself feel it, and that's what helps me to know it's not going to be permanent. I'm not going to feel like this forever. You know, I wake up the next day and feel better. I can wake up in a few days and feel better. It's just
Exactly.
you have to accept the emotions.
Yeah. And now I think that's one of the hardest things that I learned how to deal with overall. I think all of us have this really weird expectation of ourselves that we are supposed to be perfect and
Perfection, yep.
that we're not supposed to have breakdowns and stuff. And I don't know where that comes from, but it's complete horseshit.
It really is. It really is. You know, I've always been a perfectionist my whole life, and don't get me wrong, I still am, but I've learned to let go a little bit as I go, and I'm like I'll say like, okay, I gave it 60% today, and before I'd be like, no, you got to give it 100 or 110 or as much as you can give, and then I'm like, you know what, 60 is enough.
Yeah.
I'll try tomorrow, and maybe I'll make it up, and maybe I won't, or I'll get a little further, but it's just acceptance is really the key to a lot of things in life. You have to accept that not everything's going to go your way, and not everything is meant, you know, some things are just, I'm not saying like what you're going through was meant to be at all. But I mean, there's some things in life where I realize I'm like, some things are meant to be, and I don't know why at the time. Like, I would talk to God too and be like, why? I would say the same thing. Why me? Why did I have to go through this? Or why did that have to happen to me? Like, what did I do wrong? But
Yeah.
we didn't do anything wrong. We don't know why things happen to us. Bad things happen to good people. And just unfortunately, we do have to accept it. And, you know, my cousin was telling me, she uses the word and a lot. So she'll say, and it's a good thing I've started using it and it helps. Today, I feel crappy today. And I'm still going to get up and go live my life. Or just like you use that word and, like, you can feel crappy, but you can still make the best out of it in some way. So that's very helpful for me at least. So do you now? I mean, obviously with the situation, you don't live alone, right?
Actually, I do.
You do. Oh my gosh,
Yes.
that's amazing.
Yes, I am. If you know me, like people who know me personally know I am extremely stubborn and very
welcome to the
independent.
club.
Yes, very independent. And it came down to, I realized I'm a person who thrives in solitude, and I have an understanding of my physical situation, but I would not be able to handle or even think of handling my physical situation if my mental is not there.
Right.
And I know my mental requires solitude. I know I need a lot of time to myself to recharge. And it's just one of those things I'm not willing to compromise or have negotiations with FA yet. Like, I'm going to enjoy what I can now, you know, and if I need help, like, I'll be in a position where I can ask other people for help and, you know, maybe move in a caretaker or something like that. But until that time comes, like, I'm going to keep trying to do this thing on my own.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good for you. That is amazing to hear that you're doing this, like, not on your own, but you live on your own, and you get out of bed, you go get a shower, you go downstairs, you go live your life, and you're doing it on your own. And that is why I call you the Queen of Determination.
Thank you.
Because I was wondering what I wanted to put on the flyer, and literally I was thinking, I was like, she's the queen of something, and I know she is. And then when I watch your videos and I see how headstrong you are and just such a fighter, and I'm like, she's determined. And I was like, there you go, Queen of Determination. So yeah, I applaud you, and I look up to you. You inspire me big time.
That means a lot. Thank you.
You too. It's Tex said she is almost as stubborn as I am.
Yeah. Tex is a buddy of mine, who also has a FA. Hi, Tex.
That's what I was going to actually ask you next. Do you know anyone else with FA?
Yeah, I actually am extremely connected to the FA community, which is awesome. I know a lot of other people with the FA, and I think that really helps and has helped me, like, dealing with it, because with anything, you don't want to feel alone. So when you get diagnosed with something like FA, like, automatically you feel like, well, shit, I'm the only person in the world with this disease.
Isolated with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man. And then we happen to stumble upon this, like, community with so many people who are going through the same things, and it's just it's beautiful. Like, it's beautiful to be connected with people who know exactly what you're going through.
Exactly. It gives you a sense of peace a little bit, like you're not by yourself with this. You have other people that you can turn to that understand you, and you don't have to really, you can just say, like, how you're feeling, and you don't get like eyes looked at you like with, like, they don't understand, like they know exactly. And community is a big thing, and I didn't even know, like, with my adoption community, I knew I wasn't the only one adopted growing up, or like I'm the only adoptee out there, but the more I felt so isolated with my feelings, and I always thought, like, maybe I shouldn't feel this way. I have no right to. I'm given a good life, but it's just then when you start to see a community of other adoptees, and it gives you so much, like, peace and hope, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I wasn't the only one feeling this way, or these thoughts, these questions I had, it wasn't just me. And on days you have, like, you have your bad days, you just message someone, you call someone, and I can just say the word to them, like, I feel disconnected, and I don't have to go further into detail with it. They just automatically, you say one word and they automatically pick up what you're saying. And that's what I love. If I say to someone, who's not adopted, I feel disconnected, they would just, like, stare at me, and it makes me feel uncomfortable. And I know they don't understand, which I'm not blaming them for it. It's just that's why I'm trying to bring awareness to my mission. But that's not about me. But no, I'm really glad, like, community is helping you, and I'm glad you found other people with FA to help you go through the journey, that you're not walking through this alone.
Yeah, and I think that's also a big reason why I do what I'm doing. In February, I'll be taking this is my first time saying it out loud. In February, I'll be taking my test to become an official personal trainer, and
good for you.
I was supposed to take it in November of last year, but I didn't feel prepared enough, and I felt pressured from others and from outside circumstances, and I had to be extremely honest with myself and say, you know what, I need more time, and that's okay. Like, it's all right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
you got to do things in your own pace, your own time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
My cousin is on Elizabeth. She said she gets that a lot with her eating disorder community. So yeah, I'm glad she has that community as well. I mean, our family is so supportive with her. We love her, and but we can be empathetic, but we just don't really understand everything that she goes through with these
Exactly,
disorders.
exactly.
So it's just nice that I'm glad she has people who she can relate to as well. So, and again, like I said, it's all about community, and the community, the things that you're struggling with, that's the community you want to associate with, because that's where you
Yes,
feel most, I guess, most like connected to.
definitely.
But wow, I keep going. If I cut you off,
No, it's
I'm
all
so
good.
happy for you. I'm
It's,
very proud to hear that.
it's all good.
When my favorite thing is when people turn their pain into purpose. That is what I love so much.
And going back to what you were saying, like, I know you don't want to speak for me, or um people have trouble navigating talking about my struggles, and I totally understand that because what I'm facing is different.
Mm-hmm.
But what I also have understood is that all of us experience traumas and mishaps at different degrees. um you've had to go through things I didn't have to, and vice versa. And I think that's what makes the human experience beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of up to the person to choose how they want to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in my situation, I have conversations with others frequently. I wish I had this much motivation, or I can't see myself getting into that mindset or what have you. Um, I never saw myself in this position, but I also think it has to do with the way I personally deal with fear and the unknown. Like, to say I'm doing this 100% confidently would be a lie. This all stems from, I have no idea what's going to happen in my body, so I'm going to try and do the best I can right now.
And that's all that matters.
Yes, and I never want other people to feel like, oh, I shouldn't talk about my problems because they're not as hard. Like, they probably are just as hard. My problems are just more physical, you know?
Well,
And
it's also emotional and mental, like psychological as well.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
I kind of, that's why exactly I'm doing this page. I just want to put more personality behind rare disease in general, and have other people be okay with talking about their own problems and stuff. Because to be very honest, like, I like hearing when other people talk about their life, because then I don't have to focus on my stuff. So it's like, yes, please. Yeah.
I know. I get that. I totally
Yeah.
get that. Well, like you said, everyone has some trauma. We all have trauma, just with different trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Some people were born into trauma. Some people develop trauma along the way, from an unfortunate situation like a disease or a horrible event that happened to them, or a death, in the family. Just like there's so much trauma out there, and the biggest thing, is just you got this. Like we got this. Like we can't let our trauma define us. We have to let it shape us and
Yes.
become the best versions that we can. And you know, our trauma and our stories can help someone else. And it's like called the ripple effect. Like you help one person and that person helps someone else, and it's just continuous on and on. Someone actually asked the question that I was going to ask at the end, but it's okay, we can still do it now. Ahmed asked, what is your advice for people with ataxia? So thank you for asking that. I was going to ask that later.
I think the biggest message I would say is take your time and be easier on yourself. I can't speak for those who were diagnosed younger, but one thing that I struggle with a lot, especially now, is I constantly compare myself to who I was. And I compare myself to other like healthy, able-bodied people. And that's not okay. We're built differently. Our bodies require different things than others. And it's really a matter of not beating yourself up, because all you could do was take a shower during the day. Like, I hate seeing people get upset with themselves when they're not able to accomplish a lot, but what I want other people to understand is that when you have something like ataxia, every single thing is going to be harder. Like everything. So when dealing with ataxia, it's just better to take a step back and realize, like, you know what? I'm sick. This is okay for right now. Like, I'm all right. I'm doing all right. I survived today. Like, I'm okay. So just be patient and be easier on yourself. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That was beautiful advice. Thank you. Is that what you tell yourself? But I hope you tell yourself that as well.
I do. It's so funny because all of us, we can give the best advice, but then when it comes to us, it's like,
it's hard to
woo!
Advice. It's not that it doesn't matter. It's just we just have a harder time accepting it because it's us. Because we always, again, it goes back to the whole perfection and putting ourselves on a high pedestal. And I can easily give someone advice. I can tell someone, regarding adoption, like, you are enough, you are loved, you weren't abandoned, there's people who love you. But then it's like, well, hello, Michelle, can you tell yourself that? Because because I'm like, and then I go back, and when I'm done like telling the person, I'm sitting there like, man, if only I believe that. And that's what I'm working on myself. And again, it's, as I said before, we all go through trauma, we all go through healing journeys, and as long as we just continue, like you said, to be nicer to ourselves, be kinder to ourselves, don't be so hard. Like, we've been through a lot.
Yes.
A lot. Our bodies have been through a lot. Our mental states have been through a lot. Like, it just affected a lot of situations in life, with other people, and decisions you make in your life. And it's just like, you just gotta no, it's not, it's okay. Like, we make mistakes. It's okay. We're not perfect. We're doing the best we can. And if we have a bad day or have those bad days, that's okay too. No one's perfect. And I'm telling you, anybody who walks around and feels 100%, they're not.
Yeah.
I think they want to feel that, and they want to be perceived as that. Yeah. But I truly look up to the people who show their vulnerability, like you, and go on, and you don't just talk about, like, okay, I exercised this morning, I worked out, I did this, and you also go into your low vulnerability modes and just talk about, today, this was really hard for me. And that's what makes you a person, a human. That, you're going to have those moments of weakness, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But you just keep fighting, and you keep going, and you just know you have such a support system behind you, and no one's alone. Because there's so many communities out there for whatever you're dealing with, there's so many different communities for your trauma.
Exactly. And
you just have to find them.
I know that I have a great support system, and my family is extremely supportive, and I'm very grateful and extremely blessed to have that. Like, I'm well aware that and it's unfortunate with stuff like ataxia or Friedreichs Ataxia. Some families are not receptive. Some people go into denial, and they have a harder time navigating around their diagnosis, either as them or their families. And for me, I think that was one of the hardest things I learned, is that seeing other people who didn't have the same support, I'm like, how do you do it?
Yeah.
And I think that's a big reason why I started what I'm doing, is because I remember what it was like when I was diagnosed and I typed in Friedreichs Ataxia online, and there wasn't really any hope. And that's not fair. Like, I understand we're not in the best situation, but we're still in a situation where we have life, where we can live. And although we may not be able to become like marathon runners or something of that stature, like, I want people to know it's doable to still be happy and deal with FA.
Exactly. Bye, yeah. Elizabeth. Thank you. Yeah. Absolutely. Anastasia said we all heal differently. Some might have to search a little harder compared to others, and that's okay. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Wow.
Yeah.
So now going forward, you were part of the Badass Do-Gooders with me, and I'm excited because I could hopefully finally meet you someday in person.
Yes.
Because I literally want to give you the biggest hug possible. I really do.
Same.
What are your goals and your missions you have? I know a lot of people who suffer with different traumas, like sometimes they use that for a purpose in life, to go to use it for better, the good, to help others. Do you have like a plan for that, to be able to help others, or you just want to continue just fighting this?
I do have a plan.
If it's private and you don't want to share yet.
No, it's not so much private. I'm very big on energy, so I want to conserve that energy towards that goal. But ultimately, my goal and what I want to do, I want to motivate and inspire other people, like other doctors, physical therapists, personal trainers, other people in those fields, to like encourage them to work with people like me. I think, well, me especially coming into the personal training realm, I know that a lot of trainers are hesitant when it comes to working with someone with a progressive illness, and I totally understand that. But I also feel like that takes away from a good portion of the community that needs to be helped. So ultimately, I just want to get other people motivated and attempt to work with people in wheelchairs, or that may require a different mobility aid, or even the elderly communities. Like, we as human beings, we have this like notion that once you've reached a certain age, or once we decline physically to some level that that's it. Like hands up. That's it. And I just want to remind others that that's the time when we need the most help. Like, if it wasn't for the personal trainers or some of the people I have in my life, I don't know if I would have this spark. I don't know if I would have all this energy. So the fact that I was able to accomplish that just by working out with the right people, like, I want others to feel that way. Like, I just don't want, I know how lonely it feels, and I just don't want other people to feel that way at all. Ever. And I don't want people with a disability to think that just because they're disabled, other people should not be taking a chance on them. Like, our community should be treated just like everyone else.
Absolutely.
You know, we just need a little bit more help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Disabled or not, it does not matter. We are all people and should all be treated equally.
Absolutely.
And I love that you want to bring awareness, and that's part of your mission, is just to bring awareness. And if there's any way I can help you and support you with that, you let me know. I will help you spread.
You're already a huge help, and by helping me get my story out there, I appreciate you so much, and bring me on your platform. Although I know your focus is something totally different, I appreciate you extending this to me and giving me this opportunity.
Of course. I mean, yeah, my main focus is, of course, with adoptees, you know, and share their stories and bring awareness to the trauma that comes with it. But I feel like everyone deserves a chance at sharing their story, what they've been through. I feel like everyone is brave, and I just want to help them bring that courage out and speak out and talk about it. Because, like I said, that one person who shares, someone will be able to resonate with them, and it will help that person. And that goes a long way. So I want to be able to share as many inspiring stories as I can. Adoption, non-adoption stories, anything.
And how beautiful is that? I mean, you in your situation, you just want to help others. That's why I love you already.
Well, I love you too. Okay, so as we're wrapping up, does anyone have any questions? Oh, actually, there was something. I'm sorry, Ahmed said the problem is that sometimes you lost that positive mindset. I don't know if you also have asked yourself the question, why me? So, Ahmed, we did talk about that earlier on. I don't know if you came on or maybe came on later, but Frankie, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just, people dealing with any kind of illness or physical disability, obviously it's going to be different from others who are not. The main thing is just allowing yourself to feel those emotions. I think I said this before, but it's just, I have those days all the time. I have days where I'm like, I'm not working out. I don't even have the headspace. Like, everyone sucks. Like, but it happens. And that's the biggest thing, is just realizing you're going to have those bad days. Feel out those bad days and then try again the next day. Like, maybe it'll be better, maybe it won't. But I mean, all we can do is living. Just try.
Keep living. As crappy as the life you got handed, you have to find the strength within to just live and not let it ruin your life, because then, you know, you feel defeated. Again, don't let a disability defeat you. or don't let anything defeat you. You have to defeat it. So,
Yes.
Frankie, do you have anything else to add in?
No, but thank you again for, giving me this platform and let me talk to you and tell you about my story, and,
Well, I'm
hopefully
honored that you
others
came
can
on.
relate. Yeah.
I'm very honored that you came on to share, and you are very brave for doing that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I just want to tell you how amazing you are, and just keep doing what you're doing, and just whatever happens, just know that you are giving it your all, and whatever you give is enough.
Yes. Ugh, God, need that.
Well, anytime you need that, you just message me and I'll tell you.
Okay.
Everyone, thank you so much for joining tonight and showing so much love to Frankie. Frankie, thank you so much. You are such a beautiful person and so amazing. And thank you for being such a wonderful supporter for me. And I cannot wait to continue watching your journey. So you're going to go far, my dear. You are.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Frankie, I will be back on tomorrow night, 7 p.m. for another live. And I'll have a wonderful night. Frankie, you do as well.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.